Oh, this is a good one. So you ever check out in line, right, at the grocery store, and you get behind somebody and they're buying all kinds of stuff. They got their steak and their lobster and, 50 bags of Skittles and M&Ms and Kit Kats and Reese's and all this good stuff. And you're like, dang, what do? And they pull out that EBT card or SNAP card or whatever it is, and they swipe it, and you go like, in other words, they're using your tax dollars to buy all this stuff. That is infuriating, no doubt about it. A lot of people say, well, it's their money. They can buy whatever they want to buy. Well, it's not their money. It's our money. And, I've got a problem with the way the system is as it stands right now. And here's a video just to, potentially piss you off even a little bit more.
I'm mad because I get 3 canned food stamps. So what? I get all kind of snacks while I'm sitting here chilling or whatever, paying no bills. No bills. I'm on government assistance. My son back there with his snacks. Government assistance, 3 canned food.
Okay, for anyone that doesn't speak waste of space, let me break that down for you. That was $3,000 for SNAP, EBT, groceries, food stamps, whatever you want to call it. 7 kids living rent-free in government housing. Yeah, baby girl, that's not government assistance. That's government funded. You are funded by the government to live that life. And that government doesn't have any money. It's our money. So yeah, again, these kind of videos just piss you off, not only because of what they're doing, but because they know what they're doing, right? They're rubbing it in your face. So, there's all kinds of stuff I wish we could change about it. But I saw this article and it caught my attention. Now, I won't go into the nitty gritty because it gets into like finances and stock markets and, companies and whatnot. But I do want to cover it just quickly enough to get my point across. So this is from Barron's. Never heard of him. RFK Jr. wants to limit SNAP purchases. These food stocks could feel the pinch most. This part I don't care about so much. It's that first part. So we're only going to go about halfway through.
That's what she said.
Not that it would make it 100% better again, for sure. There's a lot going on that we need to change. But to limit what kind of purchases could be made, I think is a step in the right direction. Yeah, it sucks if they're buying like steak and lobster and all this and that for, not having a job, having all these kids living rent free while we're busting our asses and we can barely afford, Hamburger Helper or something. You know what I'm saying? But beyond that, at least like steak and lobster, I guess, is somewhat better for you than the rest of the crap they're buying. But this is where RFK Jr. steps in and he says what he wants to do is get rid of some of the coverage of stuff like she was talking about, the Reese's and the Jolly Ranchers and all that crap. Let's see. Again, some of this, if it sounds like stock company info that doesn't matter, don't worry, we're going to get through that real quick. It says stocks and packaged food companies have been under pressure in the past few days after President-elect Donald Trump nominated Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a well-known critic of big food's influence on government, to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Among the actions laid out in his Make America Healthy Again plan, Kennedy said he would stop allowing beneficiaries of Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, to use food stamps to buy soda or processed foods that are widely considered by nutritionists to be unhealthy. It's nonsensical for U.S. taxpayers to spend tens of billions of dollars subsidizing junk that harms the health of low Americans, the HHS nominee wrote in Wall Street Journal op-ed 2 months ago. Probably should have pulled that up instead of all this. But going forward here in just a second, I want to point out the biggest point here. It's not so, oh, they can buy Reese's and I can't. No. He says it's nonsensical for U.S. taxpayers to spend tens of billions of dollars subsidizing junk that harms the health of low-income Americans. When you're broke, you buy what you can. I see these memes all the time. Like, I remember the broke days, and it, and I still have those broke days sometimes. Those frozen Salisbury steak and gravy meals. The little McRib looking meals, the lasagna, the frozen lasagnas, right? You had the ramen noodles, of course. You've got, hot dogs and bread because you couldn't afford the buns, stuff like that. Cheese toast. I mean, just any little thing like that. It's like, yeah, I remember that. Hamburger Helper, I talked about that earlier. That's another one. And we like Hamburger Helper. But yeah, some of those foods are not necessarily the healthiest things in the world. When you're broke, you don't really care about all that. You're like, I got to buy what I can afford and feed my family. That's one thing if you're doing it. He's saying for the government to fund it and say, okay, here's money. Not only are we going to allow you to buy crap that's going to make you and your family sick, because you are government funded, that's the way I'm going to word it, we also have to take care of your medical expenses too. So we're feeding you or allowing you to eat stuff that is going to make you incredibly sick and unhealthy. Then we're going to pick up your medical expenses at a higher rate because you are going to be going more often with more issues because of the crap we allowed you to eat. See, that all makes sense to me. Like, cut that out. It's not just the greediness. It's not just the enviousness of all that. It's the, hey, if you're eating unhealthy, you're going to be unhealthy. And then we're going to foot the bill on that too. I like that part of it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'd love to never eat unhealthy. Except I really love food. And a lot of the good tasting stuff is unhealthy. So, whatever. But the government stepping in and saying, we've had enough and we're not going to fund it. That is huge to me. That goes back to the whole Vivek and Elon cutting the expenses, right? This is another way that can happen. Because if you quit funding the unhealthy foods, you quit funding unhealthy people. You can curb that a little bit. Not 100%, but you can have a greater impact on that and cut costs at the back end when they're getting older, going to the hospital more frequently, so on and so forth. We'll jump back over here. I don't think there's too much more I wanted to get into in this article, again, before it starts getting too deep on some other crap. It says, although it's still uncertain whether the Senate would approve Kennedy's nomination due to his controversial views on vaccines, fluoridated water, and more, I don't think any of that's controversial if you've done your own research. Investors are already worried that his plans could hurt the food companies for whom SNAP purchases are an important revenue source. We don't think it's unreasonable to see how many manufacturers we cover facing a headwind in the event that sugary and or more processed foods become SNAP ineligible, wrote JP Morgan analyst Ken Goldman. So I will say this, because I think that's as far as I wanted to go. But this is another point I did want to point out. This is not for, stock tips on who to invest into and who not to and everything like that. But understand this, what it's saying right here. Investors are already worried that his plans could hurt the food companies for whom SNAP purchases are an important revenue source. What does that tell you? That tells you somebody's fixing to lose a lot of money. Somebody's fixing to lose a lot of money if this happens. And they don't care about the health and well-being of the low income person that's on SNAP. They care about their bottom line. So you better believe that lobbyists from these companies, from Big Sugar or whoever, they're going to be lobbying not to do this because this is going to impact their bottom line. And unfortunately, that's what we're made up of in this country, are so many lobbying groups that are looking out for their bottom line that are pushing unhealthy stuff, non-good stuff, dangerous stuff on us just so they can make a few extra bucks. Or in this case, probably, billions. But my point is, you got to understand that the machine that we have right now that we're putting in the office, Trump, Elon, Vivek, Kennedy, Tulsi, the whole gaggle, right? Vance. I keep forgetting Vance, and a lot of people overlook Vance. Vance is a beast too. So let me just make sure, I know I'm leaving other folks out, but this is a well-oiled machine that's going in there to get the job done. But you got to understand, they're going in there to go against a bigger, badder, well-oiled machine. Okay? So it is going to be a battle. It is not over yet. That's why I say it's getting, we're getting through to the end of the year. I can let, get to some of these other kind of stories I like to talk about, entertainment news and everything like that. But you still can't take that foot off that gas. We have to keep fighting. We have to keep being vigilant. We have to stick to places like X and these other free speech platforms and make sure that the word is getting out there, stuff that's going on. that shouldn't be going on, because mainstream media certainly isn't going to be covering it. So we have to enlighten, engage, and educate people on a regular daily basis. That's why channels like mine, and I'll toot my own horn because, hey, I'm here. I'm out here doing the thing. I've got the cameras, the lights, the audio. I'm invested in this because I'm invested in me, you, my child, your kids, your family. I'm invested in the bettering of this nation, and whatever that may look like in your head. I want to see us get better. I want to see us heal. I want to see us heal from the Make America Healthy Again kind of aspect of it, but I want to see us come together and be one united nation under God, and start getting rid of the far left ideology, the far right ideology, and start finding common sense, common ground on some stuff, and really making headway on this. If we weren't fighting each other so much, can you imagine how much further we would be ahead technologically? How much more advanced we would be as a society when you look at countries like China and Japan. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to lift up China or anything. But look at these countries that aren't so divided. Look at what they have. Look at what they've been able to do and accomplish, especially technologically speaking. I mean, we can't get our railroads and bridges to stay fixed very long. And then when they mess up, it takes forever to fix them. So, I mean, little things. But anyways, guys, that's my rant on it. What you think? Was this a story worth even covering? I think it is. I think it's important. But let me know in the comments down there below.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.